The narrator narrates the narration of the narrative. Does that make sense to you? When we talk about writing, three terms come up a lot: narrator, narrative, and narration. They sound alike, but each means something different, and they aren't intuitively defined. Let's start with narrative. Of the three terms, this one is probably the most frequently used and refers to the actual story of the story, or the collection of events from beginning to end. Narrative is an umbrella term, and it can refer to novels, poetry, even a whole series of books. Any story is a narrative. When people talk about the plot of The Hunger Games, they're talking about the narrative. When they talk about the trilogy The Hunger Games, they're also talking about the narrative. Next we have the narrator. The narrator is the person or entity telling the story. They aren't always a defined character, but can be, such as in the case of first-person narratives. Sticking with our example, Katniss Everdeen is the narrator of The Hunger Games, since she's the one telling the story. However, you can't always spot the narrator so easily. In perspectives like third person, the narrator is not a defined character, but rather a perspective that can see inside the thoughts and actions of most, if not all, of the characters. Finally, we have narration. Narration is the collection of words written or said by the narrator. Likewise, the act of narrating is to give the narration. The narration is where the poetry of writing comes into play. Grammar, word choice, and rhythm all affect the narration. So, to review, the narrator narrates the narration of the narrative. Next time we'll have a proper writing prompt, but today I want you to think about a story you have read or are reading. Who is the narrator in this story? What is this story about? How would you describe the style of the narration? For example, right now I'm reading Treasure Island. The story is told from the perspective of Jim Hawkins. He's telling the story of a treasure hunt gone wrong in a formal but accessible style. He's telling it long after the fact, which affects the way that he talks about the events. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. Otherwise, I'll see you next time, and remember, it doesn't have to be perfect, just about right.